a long time ago, when I was watching sort of campaigning happen at this snail's pace for years and years and years, I noticed that the campaign marketing process is a very strange thing. It's extremely sophisticated in some ways and extremely simple-minded in other ways. If you listen to the speeches in the pre-Trump era, they were basically just strings of meaningless cliches piled on top of one another. And it almost didn't matter which candidate was speaking. If you took out certain words from each speech, you wouldn't be able to tell which party the person represented or what policies he or she supported. They were just sort of anodyne, meaningless phrases strung together one after the other. And just to give you a couple of examples of actual campaign rhetoric that was very common. Here's one: for millions and millions of Americans, the dream with which I grew up has been shattered. The choice is between the right change and the wrong change, between going forward and going backward. This is totally meaningless, of course, but within these meaningless phrases, there was actually, as I found out, an incredibly sophisticated marketing phenomenon. And what we now know, and in fact, they actually introduced this to consumers, that they were using incredibly sophisticated technology to find out which words people liked more than other words. I'm sure everybody who's watched debates now, and you'll sometimes see there's a crawl on the bottom with a little graph, and when a candidate is talking, you'll see it go up or down, and this is what they call dial survey technology. And basically what they'll do is they'll get a control group into a room, and they'll have a bunch of people sit there, and they'll have a candidate read off a speech, and if the people like the word, they're supposed to turn the dial this way, and if they don't like the word, they turn it that way. And what the people who are running these campaigns found out is that certain kinds of voters just like it. They like hearing certain kinds of words. And what they would do is they would write these speeches, which were essentially collections of words that had meaningless sentences connecting them together. And so for progressive voters, if you listen to speeches that are directed towards that kind of voter, you'll find that they very often contain words like future, smart, and compassion. But for a right-wing voter, you'll often see words like family, tough, work, obligation. And so what these candidates were doing, they were using this very, very advanced technology to basically lay this incredibly idiotic kind of politics on millions and millions of people. And the way I like to think of it is they were building like the most advanced rocket in history to deliver the world's worst cheeseburger to the moon, basically. It was very, very sophisticated marketing, very, very dumb politics. And so why is one part of the process dumb and one part of it smart? Well, the politics part, when you think about it, doesn't need to be smart. Really, most people only have one of three choices when it comes to politics. They can either vote Democratic, they can vote Republican, or they can not vote at all. Of course, interestingly, not voting at all continues to be the overwhelmingly most popular choice among the three, but the level of marketing sophistication that you need to get people to make one of three choices is relatively simpler than it is to get people to watch a political show at all compared to everything else that's on television, right? So in other words, it's easier to get somebody to vote Democratic or Republican than it is to get a person to watch a political speech instead of Monday Night Football or Keeping Up with the Kardashians or porn or whatever it is that they watch. So as time went on, the sort of reality show aspects of campaigning, all the trappings of campaigns, the lighting, the production values, the backdrops, the scenery, all of that became more and more sophisticated over time, while the actual politics became more and more simplistic over time. So what you ended up getting was an incredibly sophisticated television show about very, very unsophisticated politics.